Hey anglers, got another video here for 515 Fishing. Today I'm going to go through my setup for largemouth bass and the tackle I like to use when fishing for them at local lakes and ponds. Now since I have a lot of gear for largemouth, instead of having it all in the case, I just pulled all of it out and thought it'd be easier to go through it one by one and just kind of show you how I utilize each of these setups. So the first thing we're going to look at here are worm hooks. So one of the worm hooks I like to use is something with a long shank like this, just so it gets the hook further down the body and there's less worm for the bass to have to take, so you have those fish that have short strikes. These longer shank hooks I feel like do a better job with that. But my preferred hook are these ones with the built-in lead. So the thing I like about these hooks is this little built-in lead right here, because I'll actually run the plastic up over the lead and up to the eye, and then that lead just sits right underneath the plastic itself, and rather than having a bullet weight or something, if I'm Texas rigging my plastic, rather than having that bullet in front of the bait, I like this because it gives me the weight I want, but it doesn't have as much drag on the bottom. Now, drop shotting is another thing I love to do when fishing for bass, and I've got a couple different sizes here of the VMC spin shots, and these are the only thing I'll use when doing my drop shot technique. Of course, we've got a couple crankbaits here. These are just the two that I have in the box right now, but crankbaits are something that almost every bass angler has. Here we've got some jigs. Okay, now with these jigs, a lot of these are weedless with the brusher in front. A lot of times you're going to tip these with live bait or a trailer of some sort and bounce them off the bottom. And with your jigs, you'll notice that you got different types of heads and stuff. You got different skirt colors. I've just got a few here that I'm showing. So that's up to you to experiment with those different colors, and some have the rattles on them too to add a little bit of extra vibration in the water. We've got a top water cricket here and a frog. So crickets and frogs, something just adds to your collection of techniques. Now here I have my plastics collection all through here, and with the plastics you've got a lot of different options. You've got lizards like these two here, you've got your creature baits, you've got your worms, and even in your worms you've got different styles. You've got the twister tail worm, you've got these ribbon tails, you've got like a little paddle tail, a straight Senko worm, which use this a lot for wacky rig style, and more of just a traditional worm. So you'll notice with all those plastics just the different color variations. I just like to have something, one of each color, just to try to experiment and see what's going on for the day or what the fish like. Just a jointed crayfish here, just another bait. When pulling, this one kind of swims backward like a crayfish would. You got spinnerbait here, something more aggressive, flashy, coming through the water. Get those when the bass are really aggressive. That's a good bait to try and use. Traditional swim bait, and we've got a crankbait, or not a crankbait. Sorry, rattle trap. These are great baits used for multiple species. Largemouth, once again, one aggressive like that. Buzzbait, this big one here is a buzzbait. Now, this is different from a spinnerbait in that the buzzbait, keeps this lure more up towards the surface of the water and creates a lot more attention with these two propellers. So this is a good early morning lure or evening lure for those topwater bass. I got a little chatterbait. I've got a couple different colors of the chatterbait. I like to have one in a white and then one in a darker color of some sort. And with the chatterbaits, you've got this extra blade up top that adds the vibration and motion, and traditional tube jig. So that's just a little bit of everything I've got. Guys, go ahead and feel free to post your comments and share what you guys like to use, tips or tactics. If you have any questions, feel free to share them on the video. As always, please like and subscribe. Thanks guys, tight lines.